Listen up, get ready, I'm not gonna take no more. There's a revolution, a revelation going on in my soul. Buckle up, get ready, we're not gonna sit.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Live from the Heartland. I'm Michael James here in the 49th Ward, bringing you the Live from the Heartland show. And now it's always an honor and pleasure to bring my cousin Adam James on. He's a former football player at Northwestern. He is a very, very attentive guy when it comes to sports and all things sports. And he's going to talk to us about the year in review and what's been going on. Hello, Adam. How you doing today?
Hello, everybody at the Heartland. Great to see everybody. Great to see you, Michael.
Good to have you on. Earlier in the show, when we were talking politics over the last year, we with Tom Clark, he did mention the new stadium proposed at Northwestern. So let's start with Northwestern, whether it's football, their stadium, whatever you want to spill on us. Go for it.
Well, fantastic. Well, I really appreciate being on the year-end review show and the year-end review sports. I'd like to take a moment to remember earlier in the year, we, of course, had a segment where we talked about Northwestern's football program. And at that time, of course, they were dealing with a major scandal involving hazing. We talked about my experiences when I was a football player there, what hazing is and how that impacts a young student athlete and how important it is to stamp that kind of thing out. So at that time, one of the things I encouraged people who love sports, love Chicago, love Northwestern to do is support that football team. Those young men are going to get out there and play, and they're going to put their heart and bodies on the line. So give them some support, cheer them on. I'm really happy to say that it's been an amazing season. For those of us who followed along, they fought, they played really hard and really smart and really well organized football. And they achieved some great success. Towards the end of the year, they got on a great winning streak, won the last 3 regular season games, including beating our rival, University of Illinois. And then we went to a bowl game and won that, the Las Vegas Bowl. So congratulations to Coach Braun and the Northwestern Wildcats. Great season. I'm wearing a shirt today for the Northwestern University Black Alumni Association. My teammate, Daryl Newell, who's a fantastic football player, great student athlete, and a great man. He is now the president of the Alumni Association, and I'm wishing him success and all of my fellow Wildcats.
Well, Adam, let's get a little bit of. We already talked earlier in the show about Dyke Stadium, so let's not go there. But how about you giving us a few minutes of the sports in 2003 in review?
Absolutely. Well, there were tremendous successes that happened throughout the sporting world. I'd like to take a moment to recognize Coco Gauff and our U.S. Open champion. United States women's tennis players are fantastic. Our tennis program here in the United States is doing very well. We've got a lot of young champions coming up. A good friend of mine, another Northwestern alumni, Katrina Adams, is the former USTA, United States Tennis Association champion, or president rather, a former tennis champion herself at Northwestern on the pro circuit. So I want to wish everybody in the tennis world the best. My dear friend, Ben Brunko, who is the tennis coach at Toluca Lake Tennis and Fitness Club, his 2 sons are champion players themselves. His oldest son is on the UC Santa Barbara team, top 20 ranked. He's a blue chip player there. And his youngest son, Lorenzo Brunko, is the 18 and under national champion here in the United States. So congratulations to the Broncos.
Well, that's good. So that covers tennis.
Yes, sir.
What about the World Cup? Speaking of women.
Yes, Women's World Cup, huge accomplishment, great tournament. Unfortunately, ended on a really sour note, as we know. It's just an example of how women's sports are often plagued by cultural issues that sometimes come about in regards to how women are treated and respected in this world. So that's unfortunate that happened. But the good news is that it was addressed. It was firmly put in its place. And there were major changes that happened there with the Italian women's soccer program, football, there in Italy. And then, of course, another thing I wanted to take a moment to recognize is just how women's sports in general has grown over the years. There's a lot of political components that are being discussed. I'm a big believer in freedom. I believe that the government should stay out and let these sports organizations figure it out for themselves. And that's how I believe it should process. So I'm wishing everybody the best of luck out there in our women's sports programs.
Well, I got to say that I've been watching a lot of women's volleyball, mainly Big Ten.
Yes.
My granddaughter got into playing volleyball. She's in high school, pretty young still. a really good setter. And she really sparked my granddaughter, Olympia
Yes.
Baltimore James. And she really piqued my interest in volleyball in general, but women's volleyball in particular. And so I've been watching that.
Well,
Uh,
I grew up in Honolulu, Hawaii, and in Hawaii, the women's uh, volleyball program, the Rainbow Wahinis, are phenomenal, and they've always been a great program, and it's a huge following in Hawaii. People tune in and watch the Rainbow Wahinis women's volleyball program. It's a fantastic sport, a lot of fun, a lot of action. Now, the other thing I was going to talk about as we wrap up the 2023 year in sports is the changing landscape in college sports, and how, in particular with the Heartland, with Big Ten country, there's a big change, and that is that USC, UCLA, Washington, and Oregon are all going to join the Big Ten. What? So, it's funny because I was talking to my son about this. USC and UCLA, of course, are the rivals, Oregon and Washington as well, that we'd play in the Rose Bowl, and now they're part of the same conference. So it just goes to show things are changing. A lot of activities going on out there in the world of sports. And so I wanted to segue that into, going into this new year. And as we look at the new year, there's some amazing sporting events that are going to come up in 2024. In particular is the Paris Olympics. So for all of us that love all the other sports like track and field and swimming and diving and all those other great sports, this is our opportunity to tune in and watch some amazing athletes perform.
No, it's going to be good. I'm looking forward to it. And talking about women's sports, I did want to say that for the younger people who don't know about it, there was a decision called Title IX, which
Yes.
talked about equality. You can fill us in, Adam, but it really has changed the shape of sport on campuses in general and probably beyond.
Indeed, absolutely. And basically, in a nutshell, what it is, legally, we looked at the sporting world and we said there has to be equal opportunity. That obviously football, baseball, basketball are so popular, they drive a lot of these athletic programs. But the women athletes, they need their opportunity to get out there, compete, have fun, make a statement, represent their universities, their communities. So that's what Title IX was about, was giving equal representation, equal opportunity. One more thing I want to mention about 2024 is that you asked me to look at what's coming up in 2024. And I noticed something really unique, and that is the T20 World Cup. So what that is
What is that?
that is the Cricket World Championship. It's a major tournament. And what's happening is it's going to happen this year in the United States, along with the West Indies. But for those of people out there who love cricket, and I'm not one, I haven't watched the sport, but I know it's really, really popular. So I'm going to tune in. I want to watch it. I want to see why it's so popular in other areas of the world. So for those of you who live in Dallas, Florida, and New York, according to the website for the T20 tournament, you're going to have a chance to go out and watch some world-class cricket. So check it out.
Well, I remember when soccer was pretty new. When
Yes.
there wasn't very, in my high school, we had a team when I was playing football, and they went on to be the Connecticut State champions, et cetera. Soccer is everywhere now, everywhere in the world, and
Yes.
cricket is pretty popular too. So it's coming up. Go
It's
ahead.
just amazing how the international lines are being crossed. Sports are covering all over the world. I did want to take one last moment to mention one other amazing thing that's happening here in Los Angeles that has this international connection, and that is this amazing baseball player from Japan, Shohei Ohtani. The Cubs just missed out on him. He was supposedly very, very close to.
I was hoping the Sox would get him. Go ahead.
But he signed with the Dodgers, and then the Dodgers turned around and signed Yamamoto, another amazing Japanese baseball player. My wife is Japanese American, and her grandfather, who had immigrated to the United States from Japan, living in Hawaii, would send baseball equipment back to his hometown. There's actually a statue of him in the small town in Japan because he helped bridge and build that passion for that sport. There's no wonder why he is such a popular baseball player and is so successful.
Well, Adam, we got about 1 minute left. What else you got? Anything else?
Absolutely. I got my final message. I'm so glad you gave me one more minute to deliver this last little message. As you've heard me on this show before, part of what I like to tell people to do when it comes to sport, encourage people to do when it comes to sports, is get out there, do it yourself. Get out there, train, have fun, work out, participate in a sports league. If you have certain physical limitations, there's still aspects of sporting that you can be involved with, coaching and encouraging and cheering on. So for all of you out there who love sports, love our communities, I encourage you to get out there and participate. Play a sport, encourage a sport, coach a sport, have fun. Happy New Year, everybody.
Thanks, Adam James. Cousin, you're always good to have on the show, and it's good to see you.